Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channeling energy update for March. My name is Faye Channing, and I'm here to give March energy updates to you as a channeler. So, very welcome to be here, all of you connecting to this energy, and it's so nice to have you here as well. So, as I tap into some March energy, one of the main messages that have come in is around that we are starting to come into this niche of self. So we might find that actually we are having lots of changes in our thoughts, into our feeling around what it is that we need to be focused on, or what we're feeling aligned to or feeling pulled towards. Because actually there's a bit of shedding going on and delayering into what is the actual energetic behind my existence. Like, what is it that I've come in with? What is it that I signed in my contract before I came into this lifetime to share the planet? Now, this is going to be a big theme for 2025 because of the energy of the human consciousness is rising and the earth consciousness is changing. We are also elevating with that. So what I mean by that is we start to change as well. We start to mirror that and we start to become in alignment with that, to hold that frequency. So it's really about listening to that and really being with all those feelings in your body, in your system, in your mind that comes up. So when we tap into that niche, it's such a unique blueprint and code that we bring in. And it's really interesting because in my journey, and what I've been experiencing with that is that I'm looking to other people to give me answers, but actually they're not able to give me an answer because they don't have that code or that blueprint or that same contract that they should be coming in with. So it's really interesting how facilitators or people holding space are really good for this part of our journey, because actually what they're doing is holding that frequency for us to meet ourselves. However, if you were to go to someone to get guidance on that, who is maybe involved in the same field, they're not going to give you the guidance that you need, because they are coming from a point of view of their soul contract. Now, however, if that individual soul contract is to hold space for people to ignite and to awaken to their own soul calling, that's slightly different. So we really have to start listening to ourselves in all of this and start to really take stock of like who we're asking for guidance from and the answers that are coming back from us, because sometimes those answers could be based on their experience. Same as general advice as well. So we have to be quite selective with where our energy is going, because as we are going through this shedding, we're needing some time to allow that to land and to allow that to integrate into our system. And what I've been finding in my own experience is, as I've been navigating my channel, it's actually time for me just to come back into that integration. And it's funny, as a channeler, you always go through an experience to then share, because there's something more behind that. And my learnings around that and what I've been guided to share with you today, and allow time for your integration to come through and allow that time for your niche and your unique code to settle in your system. Another thing that's been brought up to share with you all as well is that there's no rush to get to that place. So we might feel a lot more guidance is coming through this year, or we're feeling more connected with ourselves, or actually something is calling you, but there is no rush to get there, because as we work with this energy of the age of Aquarius and the 2025 energy, everything is in flow. Like Taoism and belief systems like Taoism and Taoism, it's very much like the same sort of energy. So it's like this movement of a circle of the energy that's happening at the moment. And if we're distorting that, then we are not going to get to that place of where we should be. So what really helps with that is coming into the body and not being in the mind, because the mind is going, where am I meant to be? What am I meant to be doing? I have this message. What should I do with it? Actually, there's an invitation for you to be aware, but just to let go and surrender to that. So this is why body work really comes in this year, even more so than previous years, as we've been sort of recognizing how important the body is on this journey. It's the invitation to come into the body more. So we're not in our minds wanting all the answers and all the exploration with that, which is very easily done. I've definitely been in that space a few weeks ago with some things that I was working through. But actually there is a knowing behind that, and the knowing is in here. It's in your body. So it's been a really interesting message to share around that, because the veil is going to be lifted on a lot of things, in a sense of society, the world, our own power, who we are, what we're here to do, and also what's to come. And when those veils get lifted, it can create an urgency, but the urgency isn't an energetic state that you want to be operating in, because there is no urgency, because everything is in flow. So when we step into our power of knowing and releasing the urgency, we're actually allowing that trust of self to come through. And when we step into the trust of self, we realize how much we are the creator. And in that creator mode, we can start to navigate actually what it is that we want in our lifetime, or what our soul needs, what the planet needs. And it comes from a place of like an energetic resemblance, rather than being up in the head and going, panic mode. It's different. It's more anchored. So within that, we have to create space. So we found that actually in previous years, it's been very stimulated by a lot of external events and a lot of, technology as well. And actually this year, there's a calling for us to really listen into how we are spending our time, and how what are we allowing into our space? Because ultimately, if something doesn't enter your space, then it's not in your reality. And we have to start looking at what takes our time and what is pulling in to our space, what we are energetically pulling in, because we're allowing those gaps to be open for that stuff to flow in. But actually, if it's not in resonance with you and it's not connected to you, then why are we letting that flow into our lives? Because when we have to stay in a space of allowing the channel, the gift, or whatever it is coming in for us to land, we have to put the gates up. And we have to give ourselves the time to allow that to integrate, because there's a reason why that needs to integrate. And it's because there is more steps to go with that. We can't get to that point if we are in this searching mode or this flutter mode, which, like I said, I was definitely in 2 weeks ago, to allow that to land. And it can be quite exciting time as well, especially for people that are exploring their potential. It's like, wow, this is amazing, and really feeling this connection is beautiful. Like, allow yourself to be in that. Like, allow yourself to actually, I don't want to sit and watch TV. I want to create. I actually want to birth these ideas that are coming to me, or I need to go and see someone, or I need to travel to that place. Allow all that to be present, because actually that is what you need to do. That's what's calling you. So what I mean by that is systems will start to break. So like your normal life will not be normal anymore, it'll be alien. And your normal life is actually feeling into stuff and listening to yourself and attuning with that and allowing that to come in. And within that, the more we listen to ourselves, the more we depend on ourselves. And there is a calling at the moment for people to start being more resourceful. So one of the big messages of this year is we have to start learning to be more resourceful in terms of relying on ourselves. So what I mean by that is growing our own food, because actually the planet can't sustain this amount of food for this amount of people. unless we have more growers and more farmers or people start growing their own food. But it's getting to a point now on the planet where we are reaching our full capacity, and the distractions of smartphones and technology and all this technological stuff taking us away from our earth is actually creating a massive disconnect. And we have to return back to her. Like, we have to stay connected with her, because she will not be there if we continue to ignore her. So there's a calling about being more resourceful with food, especially what we're buying, and what are we giving back? You know, it's okay to be conscious about the planet, but actually, what are you doing to give back? It's okay to share content on our social media channels so that we care about the planet, but what are you giving back? And I say that with passion, because coming through really strongly is that we can't be a species anymore that just like wants to be seen to care. Like, actually care. Like, come back into your heart center and tell me what you're feeling when you connect with this stuff, or these feelings, or these thoughts, or the content that you share. Come back into your heart and feel into that. What is it that you can do to help? What can you bring to the table? And it's a really crucial point now. And that's why there's such a resonance in people stepping into their power, is because we're getting to a point where we really need everyone to come in and play their role and not be at the sidelines, just sharing content on this digital space that's non-existent and is not going to save you when you have nothing to eat. This is the level that I'm talking about. And, you know, it has to come from an action now. You know, we can't sit and think about all the things that we should do. There is a thing about that alignment of timing that comes in, for sure. But actually feeding into that and knowing when that comes in, what is the action? And what stops you from taking that action is a question that we need to start asking ourselves. Because if we're, you know, not coming from a heart-centered place and taking that action with love, then you might as well just stay online and do nothing, you know? And I'm saying this with love, because that shift needs to happen. You know, it's, your phone isn't going to do anything, but your action and coming from your heart is. Now, there's a big calling for coming back into the heart connection now. There's a big calling to really start living from that space and feeling into your journey and feeling into what you can offer people. Because the heart is such a powerful place to be in. It's very much like your seed to your soul. And the first sound that you hear when you come through into this world is the sound of your heartbeat. Your heart is so powerful. So there's a massive drive for us to really connect with the heart space and to feel safe in operating a life from that, because all we've known is, especially in Western culture, is to live from the mind. Especially when we come down to our heart, it's like everything that isn't resonating for us anymore becomes louder, and everything that is resonating for us becomes louder. So we're able to make decisions more clearly. And in those decision making is where our power comes from. And within that power, we can start to actually take an action to what we need to bring. It's an interesting one, because it also links me to like inner child work as well. Like, there's a big calling for people to really examine like where they're coming from in the day-to-day life. What ego state are they coming from? Who are you in those moments? And if you're finding your inner child is coming up and they're leading the show and, they're wanting to be seen, or it's driving you away from your heart and it's not as connected, then there's an invitation to do some work around that. Because actually, when our inner child is safe, we can then propel into this future version of us that's actually been waiting for us to meet, and that is in your power to bring something into the table. But sometimes the inner child gets in the way. So what we can do is set a boundary with the inner child if it's too much, and just say, look, in your mind, say like, inner child, I see that you're there. I'm with you, but can you just wait? And just notice a difference in your system around that. Because I feel like a lot of the structures of society actually puts people into that inner child a lot, without all the human emotional stuff as well that goes on. But that needs to flip now. And we need to go into the adult ego state and actually come into our power and go, actually, I do remember myself. I do remember my soul contract, and I know exactly what I'm doing. And it doesn't mean to say that you have to be like working all the time. It's like you're here to have fun and enjoy, and all the beautiful things that are available on this earth planet, and connect. But actually, there is an invitation to actually start being in what you need to do now. So if you're thinking like, what is that thing? Like, what is it I'm meant to be doing? There's many different ways that you can start to be with that. First of all is ask that question to yourself, like sit with yourself and allow that conversation to happen. But if you're feeling like nothing's coming through, ask your inner child to step out of the way and go into that question again. Or you're very welcome to book in a session with me, where my gift is to share people's gifts with them. Because it's already inside of us. It's already in here. It's nothing new. It's already there. It just needs a lifting of the lid and to go from there. So that's everything from me today in terms of the March update, but I'm sending you so much love and being with that, and just hoping you have a super day, a great day ahead, and to really feel into the messages that have come through in however they land for you. Bye for now.